At the 2019 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Oklahoma tackle Cody Ford in the second round, trading up with the Raiders in order to obtain the pick. It was a very wholesome moment, as Ford was at the draft with the expectation of being a first-round pick, but a clip showed him crying and celebrating with his family, and he ended up showing up at the draft later on so he could get his moment on stage. A product of Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, he was part of an offensive line that led Kyler Murray to a Heisman Award-winning season, as well as the first overall pick in that year's draft. However, while Murray achieved enough to garner a massive contract later on, Ford floundered and is arguably the biggest blemish on general manager Brandon Beane's tenure in Buffalo. In 2018, the Bills selected Josh Allen as their quarterback of the future. As much as it offends some fans to say so, to call Allen more of a running back as opposed to a quarterback in his first year was pretty accurate. Part of this was having one of the worst offensive lines in football, and it contained just one player that was any good, being Deion Dawkins, who ended up signing a pretty big extension and is still with the team today. To help him in his second year, the Bills signed center Mitch Morse and drafted Cody Ford, among other moves. Their plan was to make him the right tackle of the future, but it did not turn out the way they wanted to. His first season was an expected learning curve, as a fair amount of linemen go through in the NFL. In college, many linemen bully other players due to them just being bigger and stronger, but that just isn't the case in the NFL. He split time with Ty and Secchi during the season to help him develop. Out of the 61 qualified tackles and pass blocking snaps, Ford ranked 54th in pass blocking efficiency and was on pace to give up around 10 sacks at a full snap count. He was also poor in run blocking, finishing with a PFF rank of 45th out of 51 tackles with qualified run blocking snaps while blocking under a zone scheme, and 46th when blocking under a gap scheme. He was expected to adjust in his second season, with the Bills conceding that he may not be a good tackle. He switched between left and right guard throughout the season, but did not fare much better. He played right guard during the first 2 weeks and got his first start at left guard in week 3 after Quinton Spain was released. It did not go well, as he gave up a whopping 7 pressures that day against the Rams. To be fair to Ford, this was against the best player in football in Aaron Donald, but as a guard in general, you don't give up as many pressures compared to the edge. Prior to the game in week 12, he tore his meniscus in practice and was placed on injured reserve, ending his season. As Bills fans have every right to believe now, particularly when it comes to Josh Allen, the third season is where you can fully come into your own and show who you really are. Unfortunately, Cody Ford showed that he was a player that was destined to be a career backup. He had arguably the worst game of his career against Washington that season, giving up a crazy 12 pressures. Remember, this is as a guard. I don't have the conversions on me, but that would probably equate to something like 18 pressures in a game as a tackle. He was then benched, with guard duties for the rest of the year going between Ryan Bates, Ike Boettger, and John Feliciano. He got some more playing time against the Jaguars, where the Bills were upset after being 16.5-point favorites, and the offensive line was notably very bad that game. One of the biggest problems with being an offensive lineman is that it is a position group where if you are the player that is particularly bad, it sticks out like a sore thumb, and this was the case with Cody Ford. I think the biggest problem here was actually with the Bills. While Ford himself did himself no favors with his poor play, the Bills gave up on him as a tackle pretty quickly and proceeded to try to jam a square peg into a round hole for as long as they could. I think they fell victim to the sunk cost fallacy, sticking with him for too long to perhaps justify taking him with a second round pick. So far, he is the biggest draft bust under Brandon Beane, but after he was traded to Arizona for a 5th round pick, I hope he can contribute to the Cardinals team, as sometimes a change of scenery can really help. He seems like a really nice guy, and I hope he succeeds in his endeavors in the future. Thank you for watching this Bills career review, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like more content like this, please like the video, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another Bills Mafia North video. Have yourselves a good one, and go Bills!